Hey, sorry about that. I am trying again. It looked like my streaming died and my internet died, and I hope I'm back now. Maybe some of you can tell me if you see me. And I will be answering the questions that have been coming in, so I apologize for that blip. But hopefully, if you are watching live, you can tell me that you are seeing this. No, my internet is not good. Well, it says I'm streaming, so let's give this a try. Again, I apologize. All of my systems are saying that my streaming is dead. So if anyone can please send a message to the chat room and tell me if you see me. Let's see, what does YouTube show? What does LinkedIn show? Sorry about this technical difficulty. That's the fun of being completely live. All right, I appear to be live. LinkedIn is showing a giant live me. All right, let's continue from where I left off, and I am so sorry about that. Hopefully people will move over to the new stream, and we'll run from there. So let's go back to the question. So I was in the middle of answering this question, and I do have some questions waiting in the wings, so we have a few more questions. But in short, I was saying that you can certainly research something when you don't have a product yet. Maybe somebody has an idea. Maybe we've discovered a customer pain point. Maybe there's an idea for something new the company's never done before. Remember, you probably have some sort of idea or hypothesis or general area that the product is going to go into. Chances are your engineers are not starting in 4 weeks with no idea what this is going to be or do or who it's for. That's possible, but that would be really unfortunate. So I would say, now, what about target audience? It's important to have some clue of who the target audience is, because even if we're not sure what the product is, we can still recruit a study audience, and we can give them tasks and ask them questions related to even the general area of this product. So, for example, we could recruit a bunch of people who love to take lots of online classes to see how they select online classes and how they sign up for them. Maybe our product has something to do with signing up for online classes. Maybe we're not even sure what to build. Maybe we're not even sure if this is a good idea. We can start with observational and interview contextual inquiry research to take a look at how are people doing this now? What's working for them? What's not working for them? Can we find the unmet needs? This is where I often talk about task analysis. And we've got lots of stuff about task analysis in the micro lessons playlist here on the YouTube channel. Thanks, Udipta. I know I'm back. Sorry, I just started a separate stream. So learn more about task analysis in our micro lessons playlist here on YouTube, which of course is completely free. So come join on YouTube, deltacx.com/links. We'll give you all the links you need to learn more about the show. So you're going to have some sort of target audience, even if it's really general. I've had clients who say to me, I don't know anything about our target audience other than they're Americans, and some of them are B2B and some of them are B2C. You don't have to have specifics or demographics. You can just start recruiting for people who fall into that and see what you learn. But again, as I said in the other stream that we started and had to abandon because my internet blipped out, I'm a little worried that your engineers are starting in 4 weeks. You don't have a product. What are the engineers doing in 4 weeks? You don't have research. I'm assuming you don't have design, and you said you don't have a product. So this sounds completely unreasonable. And yes, to the person who asked this, you are absolutely welcome to send this video to your team, your manager, whomever. But I think that this project should have a risk register, and this product should be noted as having a monster amount of risk. Hold on, let me just Post a link from the other stream. Okay, so that's just a quick, okay, we got the other one there. What is going on at this company that you are about to build a product in 4 weeks and you have no research, no design, and you don't know what the product is? So this sounds like high risk. This sounds like this could easily fail. This could easily be a problem. And I think that some people there need to press pause and hold on and stop trying to go so fast. Going fast here is not going to be the best way to go. You are probably going to find some real hiccups and problems later when we finally realize what we should have built and for whom. So somebody should be documenting all of this risk so that later somebody can say, that was a bit of a disaster project. Let's not do that again next time. Let's make sure we plan better. This is the continuation of a stream that died over here. Okay, so now I've got all of these saved in all the right places. So again, sorry about that, the stream dying, but I hope that that makes sense to the person who asked. Of course, if you have any follow-up questions, you're always welcome to contact me directly through the website, through our Slack channel. If you're wondering how to be part of the Slack channel, that is one of the links you will find over here. Okay, so we got an anonymous question about 9 minutes ago because I was, my stream was dying and I got distracted. So let me answer that question. Oh, and we also had a question from LinkedIn. So we've got 2 questions. And let's start with the one that came in from LinkedIn. Though again, I don't know if that person followed us over to this new stream, but of course we'll answer their question anyway, because we're friendly. Okay, so this question says, hi Debbie, what's most important to have in a portfolio to get a job? I think the best way to answer this is to trot out my usual model of proficiency. So if you are trying, so what I don't know from that person, and I don't know if they're still live in the stream now, is I don't know if they already have their first UX job or if they're super new to UX and they're still trying to get that first job. If you are still trying to get your first UX job, most portfolios show me building blocks. I talked to people, I made wireframes, but I typically don't see a good UX process. I typically just see the building blocks, the pieces that could go into a good UX process, but the problem is that these elements are not being done with science and technique. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. That could happen again. I often see in portfolios things, I did a thing, but I don't often see science and technique. I don't often see, here is the critical thinking and the strategy or planning or whatever that I put into this. I interviewed 8 people because 8 is the right number because, or 8 is the number I chose because. I don't see, here's some of my research plan. Here's what I was shooting for. Here's a couple of the great questions I came up with. Here's a couple of the most interesting answers I got. I typically don't get enough detail to learn if you can do science and technique, which means I usually can't tell if someone, especially someone who hasn't had their first job yet, is proficient. I can see you did a thing, but I'm not sure if you did that thing well. So I always like to say building blocks is I did a thing. You made personas. But science and technique is, did you make personas well? Because there are definitely good UX work and bad UX work. So when I'm looking at a portfolio, I'm looking for the stories that will tell me about the project you've done, whether school or real or practice or whatever they were, that will help me understand what you're capable of doing. And again, to me, that comes from looking at the portfolio and reviewing things and seeing if you have that proficiency. And to me, that proficiency is science and technique, or strategy if you are a higher level worker. But if you're still in your first few years of UX, I don't expect strategy, but I do expect science and technique. I even expect science and technique from apprentices. So it's not like you can just do things that look like UX. You know, UX isn't theater and UX isn't fake it until you make it. So when I see portfolios that are UI design, that's fine. They might be great UI design, but they might not be UX. When I see portfolios that are web design, they might be great web design, but they're not UX. And again, I define web design as website work where users weren't involved. So you made changes to a site because you thought they would be good changes. You made changes to a site because the client or someone asked you for those changes. That wouldn't qualify to me as UX because no users were involved. So involving those users would be really important, if not mandatory, for me to consider it UX work. So I hope that helps to the person who asked. And now we do have another question that came in anonymously. I hope that person has followed us over to the new stream. And here we go. All right. Put that one up instead of that one. All right, this question says, hey, well, hey to you. I was thinking of learning another prototyping tool, and I'm not sure which one to go with. I've heard a lot of good things about Axure, but I've also heard some new tools, such as Protopie. There's Framer as well. Now I'm confused which one I should go with. To me, it's kind of a combination of two things are the best answer to that question. And of course, this is not sponsored, so anybody I named did not pay for me to suggest them or suggest against them. But when it comes to tools, my suggestion is twofold. Number one, what's going to help you do the job? So if you want to try out Protopie, try out Framer, try out Axure, you certainly can. The downside is that as these are some of the more complex tools, they do have a learning curve. Now, I have 13 hours of Axure video here on the YouTube channel in the Axure playlist. So you can learn beginner and intermediate Axure stuff from me for free. My advanced course I haven't made for YouTube yet, so it's still paid over on my little deltacx.academy. But the problem with trying some of these out is you don't even know what they can do. So you might want to go and watch some of my Axure videos. You might even want to watch the last one in the series, which was like 1901, Deb shows you a complex file. And then you can have a sense of what Axure can do when I show you a complex file that I've made. So number one, you just have to try them and see which one's going to give you the features and interface that works best for your project. Like I was talking to someone yesterday and they said they like to use Figma, but then they had to build something that had a slider, and Figma couldn't make a real slider. So they wanted to try Axure, but then they couldn't figure out making a slider in Axure. And of course, wah, 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 wah. So that's where some free or paid videos would help. So that's the number one. The number two thing I suggest is sometimes people are looking to learn a tool that's going to help them get jobs in the future. So you might want to go to Indeed or LinkedIn or whatever's a big job board for wherever you live and put in these tool names. Now, if you put in Framer, you might get people who build houses, but hopefully you can put in something like UX Framer and UX Axure and just see how many jobs are asking for these tools. You know, UX Protopie. See how many jobs are asking for these tools. Sometimes that sways people as well because they're thinking, oh man, I probably want to learn the tool that's more likely to help me get a job later because I can put it on my resume or CV and say that I have proficiency in it, and that way I can be more likely to possibly get that job because I've built up proficiency in a tool that jobs tend to want. I think a lot of jobs still do want Axure, but I know some of them are scared of the learning curve, so I do think that Axure skills are still desirable. So let's see. That is technically the 3 questions that I got because I started the stream and then I had to stop it and restart it. I'm so sorry about that. I had a total internet blip with things beeping in my house and everything. But we're back on the new stream and hopefully live on LinkedIn and on YouTube. And this is Office Hours, Ask Me Anything. And during that time, I take any questions that you have. You can ask them here in the chat room, and you can also ask them anonymously at deltacx.link/ask. They'll come into my email and I will copy paste them. And all questions are welcome. No questions are stupid. They can be newbie questions. They can be, hi, I'm a product manager, I'm an engineer, I'm an executive, and I kind of don't get this UX thing. Absolutely all questions are welcome. Russian porn spam is not welcome. So if you see something in the chat that looks like a URL, please don't click it or follow it. We are getting those. So I like to joke, I must really be getting somewhere as a YouTuber if we're getting the Russian porn spam during the live streams. Sorry, everybody. That is all I've got right now for live questions. Office Hours is something that I do every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Italy time. And once a month I do it at this time, which is 10 a.m. Italy time, because we had some requests from Australia to make a time that works better for them. So wherever you are, you're welcome here. And I'm happy to take your questions. Anybody have any questions about UX or CX, doing the work, planning the work, problems at work? These are all fair games. So if anybody wants to ask a question, I am here. This is Office Hours. And if nobody has a question, I'm just going to check some of my messages because I seem to have Slack messages. Oh, Udipta, Deb, the stream ended. I know. It was sad. My internet died, and I could not continue. And when my internet came back on, it didn't look like the stream was still going. So I just started a new one. So just checking my messages. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to take them. Again, you can ask in the live chat. You can ask at deltacx.link/ask. And I'm also checking tweets, just in case anybody tweets at me, which hasn't happened yet, but maybe will someday. Let's see. While we're waiting, we already have a few questions for tonight's stream, which is going to include special guest Tom Kerwin. So you don't want to miss that. Oh, we do have a new question. Thank you, anonymous person. Let me grab this question and copy and paste it so I can put it on the screen. And let's see. Okay, this is from Chris. Thank you so much, Chris. Let's get your question into my list and up on the screen. Okay, hold on. It's a copy-paste world over here because I am a one-person show. I don't have some sort of neato producer who's handling this behind the scenes. It is all me, for better or worse. All right, here we go. And Chris asks, hello, Debbie. Hello. I have a question about IA. Oh, good. You should have more questions about IA. It's so important. What elements should be included in IA, especially when we're creating more complex systems? What about login pages and registration pages? Do you think it's important to put filters or this kind of element? So obviously you wouldn't have a filter on a login page. That seems a little weird. And you wouldn't have a filter on a registration page unless I'm misunderstanding your definition of filter. Oh, I think we have another question coming in too. So just know that yours will come later. Hold on. And I recognize the person asking, and I'm very happy to see you are joining me live. We will address that anonymous question after Chris's question. So Chris, for IA, first of all, I recommend that people study IA as much as possible. Now, this isn't easy right now because there are few, if any, good IA courses online. So people who, hey, Ikening, so people who tend to like online courses, I haven't seen a lot for IA that are really good. And of course, that's super unfortunate, a total mess. So I am recommending that people read the IA book that has the polar bear on the cover, Information Architecture in the Worldwide, no, it's not called the World Wide Web anymore. Information Architecture for the Web and Beyond. Yeah, that's it. So you'll definitely want to read that, because I think that might give you a better sense of what IA is and how it basically fits into everything. So I would say, because I'm concerned when you say elements on screens and filters, I'm worried that you might think that IA is just like improved search results, but really IA is about so many things, and it's hard for me to sum them up all here. So and really you can't not do IA. Like, you're doing IA whether you know it or not. Hopefully you're doing it well. So things that are part of IA are meaningful text and labels. So are you calling things by what users would call them so that the text makes sense to them? What about visual hierarchy? We have a whole micro lesson in the micro lessons playlist on visual hierarchy. Hello, Prasanna. Russian porn spam. It had to happen. I just cannot catch a break here, y'all. So I'm going to have to go knock that out. Hi, it's so, if that's your marketing plan, you're bad at this. Sorry about that. People in YouTube, please don't click on that. Or copy paste it somewhere else. It's not going to be good. Visual hierarchy, I have a whole micro lesson on that in the micro lessons playlist. Well, not a whole one, partial one, but that's a good one to think about. Oh no, more Russian porn spam. Wow, they must really think you guys are going to fall for that. Let's see. IA is also about taxonomies and hierarchies, and so navigation and other things like that. So it's really important to board snorting. Explain board snorting. You first. What is board snorting? I think you're going to have to tell me, because I don't know what that is. So you tell me what board snorting is, and then I'll react. So IA is a lot more than what you've written. Hi, Janani. How you doing? So about login and registration pages, again, for a registration page, IA is going to be about how you lay that out, good visual hierarchy so people understand different sections of the page. Maybe if there are steps to it, those have to be clear. So again, IA is something you're doing whether or not you know it and whether or not you're good at it. So I would suggest reading and watching everything you can about it. In our concentric, I would say you can also go to YouTube and write Delta CX IA or Delta CX Information Architecture. You might get some different videos coming up there. Because we've got one in the concentric playlist with Jorge, and we've got episode, I think it was 104, somewhere around that number was Abby Covert. Check that out, and I hope that will help. Let's go to our next anonymous question, and then I'll also, there's a new anonymous question, which I will grab in a moment. But let's start with this one. Okay, so this anonymous question says, where do you see a product owner fitting into the design process and their role? Okay, so if the question is, we have a UX design process, let's put that up on the screen, that goes all the way from research to we're done and engineering can build this. So if this is our process, where does a product manager or product owner fit into this? So to me, where a product manager and owner fits into this is probably two key places. Number one, I believe strongly that research should inform what product we even build, what features we even build. So after research, we should be collaborating with product to say, look, this is what we learned in research about who people are and how they do things and what they need and don't need and what their tasks are. Now let's prioritize these tasks and let's prioritize what we're going to build to fix or improve or reinvent them. So that's one place, and that kind of happens between research and anything else, because we don't want to start designing anything when it could be a garbage project that has nothing to do with what users really need. Customer centricity, y'all. Hashtag. I don't have a hashtag for that. I'm looking at my board. No, don't have that. And Janani, I see your question next. So give me a second. That's one place where product fits in, is to collaborate with us and engineering in a kind of three voices model, where we're going to work with them on how to prioritize addressing the insights and opportunities that our qualitative research has surfaced. Then later on, we'll have an actual design project. That design project could have more research in it, or it might start more with the content and the information architecture and the interaction design. So to me, product again shows up kind of in our interaction design and testing kind of area, because I want to show my work to product as I'm going so that they can be informed about where I'm going. I also like to show it to engineering, but I do not show it to them to ask their approval. It is not, oh, please, holy engineer or product manager, please tell me you like this. It's to make sure that product is looking at it through their lens, and to make sure that engineering is looking at it through their lens. So for engineering, it's, is this feasible? Can we build this? Is there something blocking us from building where I'm going with the design? And if so, I might have to go in a different direction with the design, or engineering might have to go in a different direction so they're ready for this design. That way they know well ahead of time and they're not surprised later. As for product, I'm usually checking with product that I've captured all of the user stories. If there are requirements or user stories, I'm usually showing stuff to them so that I can check that there isn't something I missed, because that's always possible. Sometimes there are so many user stories or so many requirements that we're just, we forget one, we forget something. And product can look at that and go, oh yeah, but you know, you didn't build for this edge case where sometimes people need to do this thing. Oh yes, thank you. So to me, product is, it comes back during my design and testing, which is really information architecture, interaction design, and testing iterations, to just make sure that this matches where we were intending to go with the product, and did I miss any of the original requirements or user stories that hopefully we all agreed on back in the prioritization phase, which of course isn't on this graphic, because this graphic is the user-centered design process shown linearly, even though we know it's very cyclical. So I don't know if that helps, but to me, those are the key areas where we are interacting with product, prioritization, so that we're part of that roadmap. And of course, when we're doing all that prioritization, hypothetically, we would also be doing all of our planning. So, okay, now that we have everything prioritized, what are we attacking next month? What are we attacking next quarter? Hey, UX, what do you need? If we spin up a project related to improving this task, you know, hey, we want more people to sign up. That's what we want. Or, hey, we found that users are not happy with the way this thing works. We need to reinvent this. Then we need to work with people on we need to work with product and engineering on that planning and time estimation. And we get the time that we ask for because people want quality work from us, not the fastest thing we can guess at. So again, to me, we're collaborating with product after we've done research as part of prioritization, planning, and estimation. And then we're collaborating with them again, more out here, when I'm showing them the what I'm working on, to make sure that it matches what we agreed this particular feature, the direction it would go in. That's what I think is the best way to go. But again, I do not ask product to approve my work from the perspective of they like it or they want it to look like this. I do not want to build product based on what a product manager or product owner says it should look like. That is not for them to say. Product and engineering and business analysts and strategists should be solution agnostic. They should present us with problems and data, but not present us with the solution or how it looks or what technology it has to use. Is that a crying face or a smiley face or a heart face? I can't tell. It should pop up over my face in a moment. So I hope that helps. I'll have to refresh my my emojis here. So here we go. Okay, that was like a blushing face. Smiley blushy. I hope that helps. That's at least my perspective on this. And again, it's part of what I call customer-centric tri-track agile. Tri-track agile was already a thing. I've just made some modifications to it to match what I think is more customer-centric. And I'm sure you'll hear more about that soon. So thanks to that. Now, we never heard what bored snorting was, so I can only assume that was a very bored person with nothing to do, unless we get more information there. Let's go to Janani's question, then we'll go to the anonymous questions, and then we'll go to Mitali's question. So Mitali, I do see your question, but you are on a list. So next we'll look at Janani's question, and it looks like this. See if it's going to come up. Cool. Any tips for new remotely onboarding UX researchers? I've been Zooming everyone in my new org, but it feels so much more formal compared to just chatting to people at work. I do like to do lots of video call meet and greets. I'm starting a new job too. I'm in, week 2. Today ends week 2, so it's all very new. And I've had what feels like dozens of calls right now. And to me, they're as formal as you make it. And so I think it doesn't have to be formal. Sometimes my dog runs up to me during the call and everyone meets my dog. Or, to me, the formality level is probably based on what questions you're asking each other. So I think there are fun questions you can ask. There are formal questions. Hi, what's your title? What do you do here? What are you responsible for? Feels a little formal, but still good to know. And then there are more fun questions you can ask people. Sometimes, what are your favorite hobbies? What kind of music do you like? I think you can make these less formal by making them a little bit more human and a little bit closer to that informal chatting at work that we used to do. Imagine if you went and grabbed lunch with some new coworkers. Yes, you would ask them, what do they do? And what's their role? And what the heck are they doing here? So good morning, Glenn. Happy New Year to you, Glenn. We'll put your message up. So Janani, I think it's as formal as you want to make it. And I think that you can make these less formal by choosing what you ask people, start with, what do you do here? Here's what I'm going to do here. And then shift into fun stuff, fun stuff that stays away from controversial stuff. Like don't ask, what religion are you? I know you wouldn't, but I'm just saying I have to say this to people. Are you married? Do you have children? Stay away from that. Those topics can be too personal and a little sensitive for people. If somebody later mentions a child or a spouse, you could ask an appropriate follow-up question, but I wouldn't use that as an icebreaker question. Those can end up feeling a little bit personal, and sometimes people are not always thrilled with their own situations, and you don't want to bring that. Someone's in the middle of a divorce and you're saying, are you married? Ooh. So, just be careful of foot in mouth, you could say. It's happened to all of us. So hopefully that helps. And again, don't let the Zoom format make you feel like this has to be formal. It could be fun. Have a dog there, have a mug that says something funny. Totally up to you. So there you go. Thanks for that. So let's jump into some of these anonymous questions. We've got a couple of anonymous questions here. Thanks for asking those. And I will get to them, and then we'll get to the other YouTube question. And oh, good. Thank you. I'm glad you found the IA, some of the IA videos, person who sent that. Okay, so let me swing back to my stuff. Hope you're enjoying your new role. Yeah, I'm 2 weeks in and I'm happy with it. How about you? How's your world coming along? I think I might have to drop the font on this. Okay, so this one came in anonymously some minutes ago. Let's put it up. It says, let me drop the font again. It says, I work in a company which was founded by people who used to work in an environment which was the target audience, but haven't worked in the field for a few years. Any advice on pushing for more proper user research to uncover any nuances that may have developed since they left, rather than rely on internal subject matter experts whose experience and knowledge is outdated, especially as their knowledge is skewed by product awareness and being close to the product. Yeah, hey, somebody on my channel who knows what's what. Yeah, thank you. Great to hear it. Yes, you're totally right. And the problem is that, especially when you're dealing with founders or co-founders or executives, they can accidentally or on purpose be very biased. They can be a little bit egotistical. Hey, I know this industry. I know what I'm doing. You know, we even face this in UX. There are people out there who are writers and speakers and trainers and whatever. And you look on LinkedIn and it looks like the last time they held a UX job was 2012. And I'm like, do not want to hear from you. So I think that one of the more gentle ways that you can try to approach this, because I think this is a topic that's going to require some gentle. Why am I missing some of your questions? I've been working so hard on this document and the questions aren't here. What just happened? Ugh. I am messing this up. All right. So, okay. Sorry. So I think that a way that you can, we've added Mitali's question to the bottom. I think that a way that you can ask this is, you know, we should really do just a little bit of research with some of our current customers and some of our, some people who match our target audience but aren't, you know, just to make sure that we're still really in touch with the way this industry looks now. You know, I know y'all came from this industry and that you have a lot of expertise, but it's been a few years and it would be risky if we were not still completely in touch with this. And then make sure you have a plan. Don't just ask for something general like, can I do some research? That's unknown. How long does it take and what does it cost? People want to know. So you might want to say, hey, can I do a 3-week, 4-week, 6-week, whatever it is, research project? I want to meet, you know, 10 of our current customers and 10 potential customers, people from our target audience who are not doing business with us, just to learn more about what are the latest techniques and technologies they're using, just to make sure we're still in touch and we're updated. So I tend to use words more like updated and in touch with people rather than to make it sound like, you know, your information's outdated or you haven't done this for years. You might not even know what's going on. So I think you just have to be a little bit more gentle about it and ask for that. But again, if they have supreme confidence or maybe unwarranted confidence that they know everything and we don't need to do whatever, then I wonder if you could sneak it into something else. You know, if you are a researcher at this company, can you sneak some of these things into some other research you're doing? If you're doing some generative research, can you sneak in some things about what does your task look like now and how do you do it and what are other tools and technologies you bring in? If you're doing some moderated usability testing, that's hard because that would be kind of irrelevant, but maybe you can sneak it in after the usability testing. Hey, we'd like to learn more about how you do this. Just make sure you're paying for the time. But I would say if they won't specifically approve that, and you need them to approve that because you don't make your own schedule or things like that, then I would say see where you can sneak in some of these things so that you can either validate to yourself that their knowledge is still current, or you can say, you know, I was doing this research on this other thing and we happened to find 10 people sounded like they're using this new thing and I want to make sure we know about it. You know, did you know that people are doing this thing? So that would be my advice there. I hope that helps. It's some ideas. Let's see. I think we have another anonymous question that we were going to get to before the one in the chat room. All right. So we have a question from Renata. And let's paste that one on the screen and jump right in. Now remember, we have about 10 more minutes and I have this question and one more. So I probably only have time for one more question. Sorry that everything got thrown off for about 10 minutes by my internet dying and of course the stream dying. All right, so this question says, I'm learning UX, congratulations, and I'm doing a project as a student for an industrial and service design company, a service of a research lab. I built Proto personas. What do you think about them, by the way? After doing desk research, then conducted a few in-depth interviews, and after I started synthesizing data, it seems that I was talking to the wrong people. How do you make sure you target the right group? The company didn't tell me much who they would like to have as their clients, so I'm at a loss here. How do I solve this mess? Okay, great. Fantastic question, and thank you for being having good self-awareness about what happened there. I think people get proto personas wrong almost 100% of the time, but it takes a low ego action hero like you to say, I think this steered me in the wrong direction. So I would say that, first of all, how do I feel about proto personas? Almost completely negative, because proto personas are really guessed personas. We're building personas based on who we guess these target audiences are, or who we assume they are, or some stereotypes. So I'm completely against proto personas. If we don't have the right research and information to create personas, don't make anything. Maybe just go with some marketing demographics, maybe go with some marketing segments, maybe go with some really general buckets of people, some general types. You don't have to flesh out personas. And by the way, if you're learning UX, just note that chances are your school told you always make personas, or personas are made on every project. They're not. We have a micro lesson in the micro lessons playlist here on the YouTube channel. I think it's called something like, do I even need a persona? So take a look at some of our personas lessons, because I get questions like these a lot. So no, I don't think it's worth it to make proto personas. And of course, in this case, they kind of steered you in the wrong direction. And so that's a great reminder of how they can sometimes work against us. Now, also, I don't suggest that personas be made from desk research. Personas have to be made from interviews or preferably observational research. If you go to the micro lessons playlist and you watch task analysis personas, then you will see that we are saying do not make personas without observational research. So be careful there. Then I did interviews, and I think I'm talking to the wrong people. So I think the question is, how is the company building a product and they don't know who their target audience is? This sounds like a product that is either a giant guess, or how are we building something when we don't know who it's for? Who does marketing think it's for? Sometimes I talk to marketing and sales. Who do you think this is for? Who's gonna buy this? Who's showing interest now? Who are your customers? And so sometimes I go by the data that they give me. So you might have to talk to marketing or sales. Who are they trying to sell to? Marketing and or sales are trying to sell to somebody. It's very rare that a product is trying to sell to everybody, unless it's a Facebook, where it's everybody. Most products do have sweet spots, and that's what you want, but you don't necessarily need their demographics. It might not be important that they're 35 years old. It might be important more the role they play. So is there a certain job type that our company targets? Is there a certain user type? So I think that, I'm not too sure what desk research you did, but that's one way to look at it. Another way is you can look at competitors and try to see if you can figure out who they're targeting based on what some of their marketing and website looks like. That's bad. That's like a desperate move. But again, so is proto personas from desk research, if you ask me. Apologies to you. I know you did the best you could, and we're probably following some advice from your boot camp, and the boot camps or schools or whatever you're doing. Sometimes just tell people, yeah, just, make any persona. Any persona is great. Like I said before, a persona is a building block, but did we make that persona well? And if that persona is based on guesses, and unfortunately desk research is guesses or other people's data, then we might not have made that persona well. What I would be doing is talking to more people and trying to figure out if we have any clue who this is being sold to. It's very hard to imagine that a company is working on a product or has put out a product and nobody knows who this would be sold to. Nobody knows who we're targeting our marketing towards. Nobody knows who the sales team is trying to win over. Somebody's got to know that. So that would mean we need to make sure that we learn a little bit about these groups. And they could be very general sounding. They could say, yeah, we're looking for B2B customers in the security space. That's still something. Go find some B2B customers in the security space, or ask them more questions. Which security space? What type of security? What type of needs do our customers have? Sales is supposed to know this. Marketing is supposed to know this. So I think that very often in a company where they don't have personas, and you might not need personas, somebody there knows who we're selling to, and it's rarely everybody. Try that. I hope that helps. And now for our last question today. Thanks for waiting. I'm sorry we had to postpone you there because we had other questions first. And this is from Mitali. I want to spin up a CX practice at my work. Good. I'm a UX researcher and our team is specific to one channel only, but we care about various channels and touch points. Where can we get started and create a business case? Yeah, luckily there's a lot of great information out there now about the importance of CX. Unfortunately, most of that is aimed at a marketing department or a quantitative research department, because some companies think that CX are the people who measure lots of numbers about how happy people are, but they haven't yet realized that people are only happy if you build a good product or service that they're going to like. So to me, these all eventually come together. I think it's important if you want to kind of raise it at your work to talk about the importance of being customer centric, that all we have is the customer experience. Whether or not we're agile doesn't matter. How many developers we have doesn't matter. Whether or not we had a product thinking mindset doesn't matter. There's so many things that we care about internally that the user or customer doesn't care about. All we have is the customer experience. If customers start becoming extremely unhappy with our service, and especially if we have even one competitor, we could lose these people. So the question is, how do we put together a practice in the company that is looking at making sure that all aspects of the customer experience are designed for that? Avid Tar is back, who I still don't know who you are, says what people say in surveys doesn't match what they actually do. Also very, very true. We'll put that up on the screen for a moment. Absolutely true. You cannot survey your way to customer satisfaction. You can try to measure customer satisfaction and give it a score, but you cannot survey your way to better customer satisfaction because the surveys won't tell you what's broken and how to fix it. And that's where you need good research. So, Mitali, I would say I'm going to be writing a book about this. So unfortunately, you are a few months early. I am not ready yet. I probably have maybe 20% of it written, but I am going to release a book, hopefully in the summer, that covers more about this. And even Spool's not going to try to beat me to my own thing, because he watches these shows, and then when I say I'm going to do something, he tries to beat me to it. So Spool, why don't you just wait and license my book for me when it's done. So I think, if you want to contact me, you can. Maybe I can try to help you, but I think there isn't a lot of, I'm working on it, thanks. There isn't a lot of great information about this. You will find a lot of information, Gartner, Forrester, talking about the importance of CX. But again, it's still to me a little bit surface. It's still very like, oh, it's really important to measure customer satisfaction and know what their satisfaction is. But I think even if your company believes in that, that's a starting off point, because you can say, great, we are measuring customer satisfaction. We are looking at our, what's the word I'm looking for? We're looking at, our metrics and our NPS score and whatever. And you and I know that we can't do any, we can't, oh, your NPS is negative 4,000. Okay. Here's how we fix that. That doesn't happen, but we can, if people look like they care about the customer experience, we can use that as a jumping off point. Hey, we care about customer satisfaction. How do we see customer satisfaction through end to end at our company? How do we make sure that our customer support team is truly providing customer satisfaction and continuously improve that? How do we make sure that sales is providing customer satisfaction? How do we make sure that our products and services are right for people? How do we make sure we're building the right things the right ways so that people don't complain or use more support or give us lower scores? I think that if you can kind of tie back the things you want to do from the UX side into that CX and marketing and customer satisfaction score side, like, hey, look, we're probably only going to get better scores here when we give people a better product. And we're probably not going to give them a better product until we've done better research with them and understand who they are and what they need. Then we have some chance of building something better for them instead of just guessing at ideas or chasing the competition. I would say start with these things, but remember that the main thing you're going to need to do is have a plan. And of course, my book will cover that, but you're going to need a plan. You're going to need to say, this is what a CX practice looks like, and this is who's part of it, and this is who collaborates with it, and stuff like that. So that's what I would suggest. You can't just say, hey, I want to spin up a CX practice, and everybody goes, hooray, please do it. Well, the question is, what is that? What does it do? How is that different from anything we're doing now? How does it bring departments together? How does it help the customer? How will it accomplish any of our business goals? So I think you're going to have to come up with a plan, but if you have strategy in your heart, I think you'll get there. So, and let me know if I can help. So I am always available on our Slack channel. You can join our Slack channel for free. The link is here at deltacx.com/links. If you've enjoyed today's show, and thanks to the roughly 20 of you who came to the second stream rebooted, not counting Russian porn spam, thanks for coming. And if you've enjoyed this show, please find 3 people who would enjoy the Delta CX YouTube channel and all of its free live help. I'm just getting in word that we're going to have to reschedule tomorrow's show, so I am so sorry about that. Yes, let's reschedule. So we'll have to reschedule tomorrow's, which is an absolute shame. I've been looking forward to it, but the show doesn't go on without my guests. So there you go. And Ikening, imitation is not a form of flattery. I'm sure that was said by someone who stole from someone. So that is the story told from the point of view of the colonizer, I think. Not that you are a colonizer, of course. I'm just saying, that's something that would that the thief would say. That is not something that the person being stolen from would say. So, let's be careful there. Imitation is not a form of flattery. In some cases, imitation is illegal, depending upon what you're doing. So with that, I'm going to wrap up, but I'm going to be right back here on this screen, hopefully more successfully, much later today at 6:30 p.m. Italy time, doing another round of Office Hours Ask Me Anything, except we're going to have the super interesting Tom Kerwin joining as a special guest to take your live questions. So if you want to send in questions for the 6:30 p.m. show, send them in now. And even if you can't join, even if you're going to watch it in the archives later, send your question in and we will answer it. You do not have to be live to win. You don't have to be here to win. You can still get your questions answered by me and or my guest. So I will see everybody much later today. And on that note, I am signing off. So everybody be safe, be happy, and be UX and CXy, and I will catch you all later. Bye. Customer centricity as business intelligence. Visit deltacx.com to learn why we are